Hi everyone, Kathy Martin in Human Resources to give you an overview of our new flexible work policy. I'm going to hit the highlights today, but there are a lot of details within the policy that should be carefully read before a flexible work agreement is considered. You might be wondering why Roanoke College is implementing this policy. During COVID, remote and flexible work took off, and it caused many employers to reevaluate their stance on such policies. It is our hope that this flexible work policy will increase the work-life balance for some employees and help with mental health and overall well-being. When employees feel better, they tend to be more productive, and that's a good thing for both the employee and the college. Finally, we hope that the addition of this policy will help us attract some top talent to Roanoke College. Let's dive into some of the details of the policy. All full and part-time staff members, whether salaried or hourly, are eligible to take advantage of this policy. But what will really dictate who is eligible are the job responsibilities of the individual and whether or not that work can be performed remotely effectively. Any remote work arrangement must be productive. Simply responding to emails all day probably isn't going to be a full day of work. And any remote work should not burden those that are remaining in the office. The new policy allows for a hybrid work schedule by working in the office 3 days a week and up to 2 days a week remotely. That 2 days can be changed by your manager or your divisional leader, but the policy allows for up to 2 days. Setting up your home office would be your responsibility, as well as any costs associated with maintaining an appropriate internet connection to perform work remotely. All security and data protocols must be followed, including compliance with FERPA. Even if you have an approved remote work agreement, the college needs do matter, and you may need to come into work on your remote day for a meeting or a training. It may not be possible to shift your remote day to another day that week. Now, what I'm talking about is this hybrid work schedule, but there are parts of this policy that include the fully remote positions, of which there are very few here at the college. If you are one of those employees that are watching this presentation, just know that there is nothing that you need to do to change your particular remote agreement at this time. How do you apply for this benefit? I think the first step would be to just have a conversation with your supervisor. Tell them what you're thinking, the days of the week, how many days a week, why you think you're eligible, see what their response is, and then just engage in an open dialogue about the options that might be available for you. If they seem receptive or give you the go-ahead, then fill out an application for a flexible work request. You can find this form on Form Finder, and it will go through an approval process through your supervisor and your divisional leader. If that is approved, then the next step is for you to complete a flexible work employee agreement, and this lays out the expectations and parameters for actually working remotely. Now, flexible work is not without some concerns and some challenges. Communication is key. If something comes up for you while you're at home and you're unable to work your schedule, you need to communicate that to your supervisors, no differently than if you needed to run out of the office for an emergency to attend to something. Make sure, if you're a supervisor, that if any issues do arise, that you're addressing them promptly. Don't let frustrations build up. Make sure the employee knows that expectations are not being met. It is really important to manage performance of remote workers, and it takes a little bit of extra effort to make sure that goals are understood. Leverage technology wherever possible. Microsoft Teams has been recently updated, and it has, and had previously, a lot of robust functionality for document sharing and team communication. Make sure that you're doing those performance evaluations no less than annually. Keep in mind that at any time, change in the flexible work agreement may be needed. Perhaps the department experiences some turnover or someone goes on vacation. The workload changes. The seasonality of the business in that department changes. Flexible work agreements may be changed at any time, and every effort will be made to give a reasonable notice because we understand that people have planned their lives around this expectation of flexible work once it's approved. Like any new policy, there'll be some hiccups along the way and lots of questions. You can find the policy and an FAQ guide attached to this email, but they will be housed permanently on the Human Resources webpage under the Handbooks and Other Policies section. At the end, we hope that this provides some employees with more opportunities to build a work structure that works for them and increases productivity and reduces stress. Campus will have to adapt and think differently about how to communicate with coworkers who are working remotely and working flexibly. Remember to keep them included in office events and fill them in on things that they might have missed on their days working from home. Thank you for watching this, and have a great day.